What is going on, guys? It is your boy King Scourge here, and tonight we are giving you guys another long-awaited Yu-Gi-Oh deck profile. We're going to be doing my Darklords tonight. Yeah, I've had this deck for a while, a couple weeks, but I thought I'd give it to you guys because you guys have been waiting so long and patiently, and I appreciate that. So yeah, without further ado, let's get started with the deck profile, guys. So, a little bit of background before we get started. Darklords are a group of dark attributed fairy type monsters which rely on their spells and traps and being able to use them multiple times in the graveyard by paying 1,000 life points to be able to apply their effects. This usually is meant to get around costs because you can set them from the field and use their effects, but you have to pit. They usually require you to send a Darkware monster or something. Well, if you don't have that, you can. If they're in the graveyard, you can avoid that cost. So that's how that's kind of how they play. They kind of play during your opponent's turn, essentially. And I'll explain some other combos and tech cards that I have in the deck for you guys, but I really do hope you guys enjoy this. This is what I've been playing. Keep in mind that these deck profiles are up to player preference, but this is just what I play and what I like. Obviously, I changed up my deck, tried changing my deck a little bit and test different cards and stuff like that. So, without further ado, let's get started, guys. So, for the first monster, we play three of. We play three of one of the boss monsters. Darklord Yugioh. Now, Yugioh's a level 10. She's very good. You need to play three of her. A lot of the Darklords you need to play three of. There's just it's too good without it. So, Yugioh's effect says you could discard one Darklord card and this card and draw two cards. So you essentially send two. You can send your spell and traps to the grave or whatever. It says Darklord cards doesn't have to be monsters, but you can discard her and another card and then draw two. So she kind of helps you draw. Her other effect, during either player's turn, as a quick effect, you can pay one stack, 1,000 life points, to target a Darklord spell trap in your grave. Apply that target's effects, and if you do that, that target gets shuffled back into the deck. And then you can only special summon one Darklord Yugioh once per turn, and you can only use this effect with Darklord Yugioh once per turn. So very helpful. A lot of these Darklords will have quick effects like that, so that's how they kind of interact with your opponent. So you need to play three of her. It's very important. Another card that you need to play three of, because this is how the deck kind of generates advantage. You need to play three Superbia. Besides being a level 8, which is a perfect trade-in target, because the deck does play a lot of high-level fairies, Superbia has a simple effect. When it's summoned from the graveyard, when it's special summoned from the graveyard, you get to special summon another fairy from your graveyard, except Darklord Superbia. This effect isn't once per turn, and this effect can miss timing. For the most part, it doesn't miss timing, but there are certain situations where it can. But it's a free monster reborn for another fairy, and it could be any fairy except for Darklord Superbia. And you're going to be summoning him a lot, so you need to play three Superbia as well. Next, for the last three of. This one's actually kind of helps you get your play starters, but you play three of the new Indulged Darklord. Here, I'm actually going to adjust my camera a little bit because that might be a little blurry for you guys. Alright, so Indulged Darklord says, and keep in mind I'm reading these cards upside down. So it says if this card is normal special summoned, you basically get to take two Darklord cards. You give your opponent one, meaning you special summon to your opponent's side of the field, and then you add the other to your hand. So it helps you get your Morningstar and kind of helps you get your plays out. Typically you'd give your opponent. I would typically give my opponent something to run that I could run over. But it's a really good effect. She helps you get your play started, and you can only use her effect once per turn. But typically I would give my opponent like an Ukobak and add like an Ixchel or whatever I may need, just to be able to, smack my opponent and get the Ukobak back, send it to my graveyard, and then do your plays like that. Because Ukobak has the lowest defense, only has 1,000 defense. So what you do is, you give your opponent Ukobak, smack into it, because this can kill Ukobak or destroy Ukobak, and then that way it isn't so much as a loss. You don't really want to give. You got to make sure online. You got to be really careful because it applies both effects first. There have been times where I've summoned the wrong fairy. I've given my opponent a bigger monster that I can't run over, and then it's like, well, I just screwed myself out of a resource, But yeah, you also need to play 3 of her. She's very important as well. She's kind of helps you get your play started. Now, for the 2-ofs, I only play 2 Ukobak. It's a Foolish Burial for Darklord spells and traps. When it's summoned, you can send 1 Darklord card from your deck to the graveyard. So it's either a Foolish Burial for a monster or spell and traps. Typically, you want to go for spell and traps. I know most of the Darklords are actually really budget now. I do know that some of the cards have gone up in price. And Ukobak's like $6 now. If you can't afford Ukobaks, excuse me. If you cannot afford Ukobaks, there is another budget card called Foolish Burial Goods. For those of you who don't know what that card does, it is a spell card that simply states send 1 spell or trap you control, or send 1 spell or trap from your deck to the graveyard. That is a decent alternative if you cannot afford that. Ukobak. But Ukobak is relatively cheap. I got it for like $3. I know he's like $6 now, but I only need to play 2. I feel like 2 has been working out fine. If you want to play 3, that's your choice. It is a once per turn effect, so you don't want to play 3. I typically don't play 3 because I don't want to clog it up in my hand, and I don't want to play 1 because you want to see it, and I think 2 is just right. And again, if you want to play 1 Ukobak and throw in a couple copies of Foolish Burial Goods, that's up to you too, but this sends any Darklord card. It isn't just spells and traps, but typically you want to send your spell and traps, because then you can just get them back, and that's how Darklords run. Next, I personally I like 2 of this, and I'll tell you my reasoning behind it. But next, I play 2 of the boss monster, Darkware Morningstar. Now, this card has a hell of a lot of text. This is the boss monster of the deck, but most people play 1, but I play 2, and I'll tell you why. I play 2 because of the fusion monster. If you fusion summon it using Darkware Morningstar, you get to Supreme King Zark your opponent's field, meaning you get to destroy all cards your opponent controls. I'll show you that in the extra deck in a moment. But so Darklord Morningstar's effect simply states he can't be special summoned. If this card is tribute summoned, you can basically you can swarm your field. So if you tribute summon him, you can swarm your field up to special summon Darklord monsters from your deck up to the number of monsters your opponent controls. And then while you control another Darklord monster, your opponent cannot target this card with card effects. And once per turn, you can send the top cards. You can mill the top cards of your deck up to the number of Darklord monsters you control. And then you gain 500 life points for each Darklord card sent by this effect. So if you have 4 Darklords, you get to send 4 cards, I believe. Here, let me just double check that. Yep, equal number of Darklord monsters on the field. It's not up to the Darklord monster you control. So if your opponent's playing a mirror match and your opponent has a full field of Darklords, okay, I get to send like 7 cards. So so that's an interesting effect, but I play him at 2. I know a lot of people only play him at 1. You have to play at least 1 because it's the boss monster. You can't play this deck without playing at least 1. You're typically not going to tribute summon him, or you're typically not going to summon him because you usually don't have the resources, but when you do, it's kind of helpful. And again, I play him for the other fusion material. Most of the high-level Darklords pretty much have the same effects. So, like Nastin and Yugioh, they all have effects where you can pay 1,000 life points. You can either play his turn, as a quick effect, target a Darklord spell, trap, shuffle back in the deck. So, Darklord Nastin, I play 2 of. Darklord Nastin's effect states you can discard 2 other Darklord cards, summon this card from your hand. As a quick effect, you know, pay 1,000, target a Darklord spell trap in your graveyard, apply its effect, shuffle that target in the deck. You can only use each effect of Darklord Nastin once per turn. You can only special summon Darklord Nastin once per turn. So make sure you guys read. That was the other thing. If you guys haven't seen my other duels with when I was practicing Darklords against my friend on Edo Pro a couple weeks ago, I made the mistake of not reading my cards because, you know, typical Yu-Gi-Oh! Average Yu-Gi-Oh! Player's mistake, not reading cards. And I tried to activate Celestial Transformation, summoning Yugioh, which for a combo that I'll show you later, or for a combo that I will explain later, when I get to the extra deck. So yeah, Yugioh is very, or Nastin, I feel like you need to play 2 of. You can bump him down to 1 if you want, but I feel like 2 is fine. Now, this card, you can either love it or hate it. Meaning you can drop this card off completely if you want, but I'm playing it and I actually kind of like it. It really just sets up for some cheeky shenanigans that you can do. I played 2 of the other level 4 Darklords, Capricious Darklord. Now, basically, this literally says, as a quick effect, tribute summon a fairy. Okay, let me read its real effect, but in a nutshell, it literally says quick effect, tribute summon a fairy. So during either player's main phase, quick effect, you can activate this effect, tribute summon 1 fairy monster face up. If this card is sent from the field to the graveyard, you can make all your opponent's monsters lose 500 attack and defense for each fairy monster on the field. So it's a quick effect tribute and lets you, so it can let you tribute summon Christie on your opponent's turn if you really wanted to, which you can do, but I'm considering bumping her down to 1 because she really is kind of shit. If you draw her, she is kind of shit. Unless you, I do have a couple other cards that I play that kind of help out with that, but I'm considering bumping her down to 1. But she's okay. Helps you get over beefy monsters. And next, for the only non-Darklord card we are playing in the main deck, 2 Christia. Literally says fuck you. Neither player can summon monsters. So if you have this in hand, you have another fairy, okay. Tribute her. Activate Capricious Darklord effect. Tribute her and another fairy that you may have on field. And then someone drop Christia. And watch your opponent squirm because then you have to use more resources to get Christie off the board. So yeah, and then Christie adds fairies back from your hand. So yeah, literally you drop this, you pretty much win the game unless your opponent like Dark Rulers or Raigekis. If they don't get rid of this, you pretty much win the game right there and then. It's basically Vanity. It's Christie's Vanity's Ruler or Vanity's Emptiness. It's stupid. Seems like something you should not be able to do, but you can. Next, for the one-ofs, I only play 1 Darklord Zerato. I'm really consider bumping this up to 2. If I get rid of one of the Capricious Darklord and then play 2 Zerato, because Zerato's effect is a Raigeki. Well, it's a self-destruct Raigeki, but no, if you can discard 1 dark. Well, if you have 4 or more dark monster with different names in your graveyard, you can tribute summon this card by tributing 1 fairy monster. And then you can discard 1 card, destroy all you can send 1 dark monster from your hand to the graveyard, destroy all face-up monster your opponent, or destroy all monster your opponent controls. Sorry, I'm starting like an idiot. And then during the turn that this effect is applied, during the end phase, he kills himself. He destroys himself. Raigeki. Like, what good is... No one really plays the actual Raigeki anymore, but... and there are a lot of cards that are unaffected or can't kill, but it still just blows up everything. Next, we played one Darklord Osmanduk, or Osmanduk. You can discard this card and one Darklord card, target one Darklord card in your graveyard, add that target to your hand. During either player's turn, you can pay 1,000 life points, target the Darklord spell and trap in your grave, apply its effects, then shuffle it in the deck. You can only use its effect once per turn. You can only special summon Osmanduk once per turn. Simple enough. Ignore my cat. Damn cat's knocking at the door. Next, I only play one Darkware Nurgle. It allows fairies to do piercing, and then literally has the same Darklord effect. Pay 1,000, target a spell trap in your graveyard, Darklord spell trap, yada yada yada. Most of these have this kind of the same effect. You can only special summon Darkware Nurgle once per turn. A lot of these have a once per turn special summon restriction, so you have to be, again, you have to kind of be careful of that, but that really isn't that much of a problem. So there is one card, I can't remember which one. I played the one card where it prevents from being destroyed by battle or card effects, and you can by discarding a card, and I can't remember what card that is now that I think about it. I actually think I remember what card it was. Darklord Testapolka or whatever. I played two of that too, but I don't have it in this deck profile, so I played two of the other Darklord Testapolka or whatever. I just realized I did not have those. Yeah, this is awkward, but yeah. Anyway, for the Darklord spells and traps, or for the spells and traps in general, play 3 Banish of the Darklords. This literally says it's a Rhoda. Literally adds any Darklord card from your deck to your hand except for Banishment, because that would be really broken. Okay, Banishment, add Banishment, Banishment, add Banishment, Banishment, add Banishment. You can see where that goes. You can only activate one Banishment once per turn. Simple enough. Searches any Darklord card that you need. Next, we play 3 Darklord Contacts. Literally Monster Reborn for Darklords. Special summon one Darklord monster in your deck. This card literally says summon Superbia. Yeah, I mean, it can do any Darklord, but literally just says summon Superbia, because Superbia's effect is not once per turn. So that's how you generate advantage. And actually, Darklords can technically out-Dragoon, because none of the Darklord spell and traps target, none of the Darklord trap cards target, which is actually really stupid, but Dragoon can out them, but they can out Dragoon with ease. So, alright, next we play 3 trade-in because we have a lot of high-level monsters. So yes, we play 3 trade-in. Discard a level 8, draw 2. We run quite a few level 8s in this deck, so that's important. Next, 3 Allure, because your entire deck is dark, so it's more draw power. Except for the Christia. The Christia is light, but no, 99% of your deck is dark. I only play 2 Super Poly because Super Poly is breaks boards. Yeah, and we do run a couple Super Poly targets. So yeah, Super Poly. Now, the one Spice card that I'm running 3 of, but it helps out so much. You guys can bump this down to 2 or 1 or whatever you want to play, but I personally play 3 of it because I absolutely love it. I don't know why more people are not playing this. I play 3 Celestial Transformation. in case you brick like super hard, I feel like you should play at least a 2 of. I'm playing 3 and it's fine. But no, play 3 Celestial Transformation. At least I do, because of the fact this says summon a fairy monster from your hand. Its attack is halved and it's destroyed during the end phase. So you can use it as a chump blocker if you need something, or you can, if you bricked in your hand and have too many high level fairies. This also lets you summon Christia on your opponent's turn. So you could set this face down and your opponent starts summoning. You could just be like, Celestial, assuming it doesn't get negated by something. Okay, Celestial, Christia in defense mode. You can't summon. And then so your opponent will either end your turn around the spot, Christia will die, get put on back on top of your deck, you draw Christia, and then you can just go off with your turn. So yeah, I played 3 Celestial Transformation. It's nuts. It's the nuts, in my opinion. So that's it for the spells. For the traps, we only play 4 traps. We literally play one Darklord enchantment. This is a this is a Snatch Steal. A 1-turn change of heart / Snatch Steal. You send 1 Darklord monster from your deck, from your hand or face up side of the face up on your field to the graveyard. Take control of 1 monster. Take control of 1 monster your opponent controls until the end of the turn. So yeah, no house that doesn't target. You can just, I want your Dragoon. Okay, pay 1,000, send a target enchantment effect. Mine. So yeah. Next, we only play 1 Darklord Rebellion. Send a Darklord monster, destroy a card on the field. Doesn't say face up, face down, but then I play 1 Sanctified Darklord. You send 1 Darklord from your hand or field to the graveyard, and then you negate 1 monster's effects on the field, and then if you do, you gain life points equal to its attack. It doesn't say original attack, it just says attack. So if it has 8,000 attack points for some odd reason, you can just gain 8,000 life points and get an effect failure. And it doesn't target either, it just says, I'll just take 8,000 life points, please. And then for the last of the main deck, we play, or at least I play 1 Darklord Uprising. This is the fusion trap that lets you fusion summon any fusion monster using monsters you control from your hand or field as fusion material. And if then you can gain life equal to the original attack of the monster you use. That's the original of the monster sent to the graveyard to activate the effect. You can only activate this effect once per turn. Here, let me see. Yeah, you have to fusion summon a dark fusion monster. And so basically, if you use a monster to fusion summon from your hand or whatever, you can gain life points equal to attack of 1 of them. So that's it for the main deck, guys. Let's talk about my extra deck. My extra deck is interesting, but it actually makes sense. I only have 14 cards in the extra deck. I'm working to find the 15th card. But let's get started. So we're going to start with the fusions. I played 2 of the first Darklord. Now, the first Darklord requires 3 Dark Fairy monsters. So, your opponent cannot target fairy monsters you control with card effects. You can only use the following effects of the first Darklord once per turn. If this card is fusion summoned using Darklord Morningstar's fusion material, you can destroy all cards your opponent controls. Yeah, and since it's a trap, you can fusion summon and use its effect during your opponent's turn. So it's actually kind of niche. Now you know why I run 2 Morningstar. Once per turn, during either player's turn, you can pay 1,000 life points, special summon a fairy from your hand or graveyard. So yeah, that's actually pretty good. And know-how has 4,000 both ways. So yes, I played 2 of the first Darklord. Next, I play 1 Starving Invented Fusion Dragon because it's the most generic Super Poly target out there. It just takes 2 Dark Monsters, and Super Poly, like I said, outs everything. Just, oh, Drake, you're going for Verte and a Warlord Savage? Well, okay. Super Poly those away for Venom. So, I play 1 Mud Dragon in the Swamp. This should be a Predaplant, the level 9 Predaplant fusion, because that one's much better because it negates shit from the extra deck. But yeah, I only play. This is a substitute of the one, the Predaplant level 9. Now for the XZs. Now, if you can't kill your opponent using the main deck, then, or using the fusions, then what you do is you just start beating the shit out of them with the XZs, because you can make one of the second best rank in the game of Yu-Gi-Oh, in my opinion. Rank 8s, rank 4 and rank 8s are like 2 of the best played, most played ranks in Yu-Gi-Oh. Someone feel free to quote me on that. So, for the XZs, 1 Dingy, because Dingy, again, outs Dragoon, outs anything. When it's summoned, you get to send a card your opponent controls on the field to the graveyard. Okay, doesn't target. Dragoon, see ya. So, yeah, Dragoon, see ya. Anything that can't be targeted, see ya. Yeah. Just says, Dingy says, fuck out of here. So, and plus he protects from battle or cards, protects your cards from being destroyed by battle card effect by detaching XZ material, so up to twice. So, and that's when he's special summoned. 1 Hope Harbinger because it negates spells, and doesn't require materials, and it helps redirect attacks. What's really stupid, I was considering playing Lancelot, and Lancelot is another alternative option if you don't want to play Hope Harbinger. But the problem is with Lancelot is an Omni Negate. This only negates spells. The problem is with Lancelot is its Omni Negate is Force. With that being said, that means Lancelot may as well just said negate the first card effect that would activate during either player's turn, because that's what it does. It literally, yeah, you can hit directly for 2,000, whoop-de-doo, and then you can blow up a card, face-up card in the field while it has XZ material and does battle damage, whoop-de-doo. But no, Hope Harbinger is just a better option in my opinion, because the fact that you can choose when you want to negate and you don't have to detach, and you can redirect attacks on this too. So yeah, you can redirect attacks. And then if another XZ monster you control destroy a battle card effect, you can just make it gain attack equal to destroy monster's attack. So it's really stupid. He powers up your other XZs. Harbinger's just a better rank 8 than Lancelot. Then I kind of play a small Galaxy Eyes pack because I was an idiot. I play kind of a small Galaxy Eyes engine. You can play Tachyon, whatever you want, but I play 1 Galaxy Eyes Cypher and 1 Prime Photon. Cypher literally lets you steal a monster, make its attack become 3,000, its name becomes Galaxy Eyes Cypher Dragon, its effects are negated, and it can't attack directly. But it's a snatch steal for free. So you could have a monster with 0 attack, and you could take a level 1 monster your opponent controls and be like, it's mine now until the end of the turn. Hit, make it 3,000, okay, which 3,000 is the average, typically the average for rank 8s and stuff, in terms of attacking power. So 3,000 attack, you should be killing quite a few things in battle. Again, feel free to quote me on that. And then Photon, basically, it gets bigger during damage calculation. So, steals the attack, gains 200 attack for all XE monster on the field, times the rank, times 200, and gains attack. And then has some other effect where if it's destroyed while it has Galaxy's Photon Dragon's material, you can summon this card and then double its attack, but then any battle damage this card inflicts is halved, unless this Galaxy has Photon Dragon is XE material. So, yeah. Again, if you're playing any deck that's like rank 8 and stuff, if you can't kill them with the main deck, which happens, that's what the extra deck is for. You just beat the shit. You start beating the living shit out of them by summoning all these big beat sticks. Notice I have a bunch of 4,000 beat sticks in my extra deck. I have this. I have, you know, 2 of the Darklord, the first Darklord and stuff. They all have 4,000 attack plus, which is really big. Most monsters can't beat that without some sort of significant power boost. So, next rank 8, Zombiestein. Zombiestein's technically an Omni-Negate, but it has 4,500 attack, so basically can only be XE summoned during either player's turn. You can detach XE material, target a face-up card on the field, then change this card to face-down defense. Note how it only has 1,000 defense, but if you do, that card has its effect. That target has its effect negated until the end of the turn. You're typically not going to use that effect, but you're just using it for its raw power. Again, this is the most powerful. This is one of the most powerful Xyz monsters in the game, other than like Numeroni's Numeronia. In terms of attack power, I mean, obviously there's a couple of rank 10. I think there's like that super dimensional battle bot or whatever, that rank 10 that has like 5,000 attack. But effect wise, it's not very good, but attack power wise, it's one of the highest in the game. Base attack, I mean, it has 4,500 attack, so yeah. Next, the one spice card that I know you guys are probably going to be like, what the fuck is he thinking? I got this from actually Dark Arm Duelist, but I've actually pulled this off, and it's so funny to see the look on your opponent's face. I play one Pain Gainer. Now, know how he requires 2 level 10 monsters. Well, Ixchel is level 10, so if you can get out double Ixchel. Pain Gainer's effect, literally, besides being have a flare metal-ish type of effect where every time your opponent summons a monster, special summons a monster, they take 600 damage. That's not the effect you want to worry about. The effect that your opponent's going to worry about, that will literally turn all your monsters into beat sticks, is the first effect. All monsters you control gain attack and defense equal to the difference in life points. Well, you're going to be paying your life points, so your life points should be at least 1,000 or lower. You shouldn't have any problems getting your life points to be at least a couple thousand difference with all the life points you're paying to activate spells and traps. It doesn't matter if your life points are higher or lower. No, it just says difference in life points. So if you only have 50 life points left and your opponent's at 30,000 life and you got 50 left, then your monsters will then gain 29,950 attack. So you get Pain Gainer out and your opponent doesn't deal with it now. Yeah, you're gonna punch their lights out. So, yeah, this will be a problem if you get this out, the duel's over. If they don't negate this or get rid of this immediately, the duel's over. Just saying. Most likely. I mean, your opponent could have something, but if they don't get rid of this, no, they're gonna have a really hard time. They're gonna have a really hard time. Although you do have to be careful, make sure you don't want to do too much damage, because then remember the difference in life points. So obviously if your opponent's life points go down and your lower life points and they take damage, it brings you, then your monster will still get weaker. But no, Pink Tarantula is stupid. I've done it, and trust me, the look on your face, your opponent's face, will be like, what? Anyway, so then for the links, I only play one Herald of Mirage Light. It's another Omni Negate. It's a once per turn Omni Negate, which I thought that negation effect was not once per turn, but yeah, I play one Herald of Mirage Lights just for another Omni Negate. I play one Borlo Dragon, again, another out to Dragoon or any problematic cards because it's a snatch steal. And can't be targeted by card effect, monster effects, and you can make a monster weaker by 500 points. It has a spell speed 4 effect. If you want to play Boral Sword, keep in mind there I do have one extra card room. So if you want to play Boral Sword as well, because like you want to kill your opponent even more, like this deck really needs to, but it's your choice at that point. And then we played 2 of the Condemned Darklord to round off my extra deck. Condemned Darklord requires 2 fairies, and she's actually pretty good. I mean, I've played her in other fairy decks. I mean, she's really good in Darklords because that's what the deck she's made for. But basically, she lets you tribute summon fairies by banishing monsters equal to the number of tributes in your graveyard from your graveyard instead. And she searches, so you can discard 1 card, take one Darklord monster from your deck, and either add it to your hand or send it to the graveyard. And then once per turn during your end phase, gain 500 life for each fairy type monster on the field. So yeah, she's the one that kind of helps you recover your life. So anyway, guys, that's gonna wrap up this deck profile. I have been playtesting and I really have enjoyed this deck, and I hope you guys do too. As always, if you like my content, feel free to leave a like, comment, and leave some constructive criticism. Even hit the subscribe button, and I will try to upload whenever I can. I should have this video and a couple of other videos uploaded soon. I'm kind of in the middle of like 5 different videos right now. I haven't uploaded in a while, and I have a channel update coming out to you guys as well. So yeah, I will try my best to get kind of some of the stuff out for you guys. Anyway, guys, that's gonna end it for the deck profile, and then you guys have a good night. Talk to you guys soon. King Scourge is out of here. Later, guys.